What a great segue for you. The new moon. I know Norm always schedules his stuff on new or full moon. So Norm, I'm passing you the controls. You're from my generation, so you remember the TV show Outer Limits. So I'm giving you control of our television set.
Show my screen.
Remember Outer Limits? Yeah, I could hear you, Norm. How are you, buddy?
Okay. All right, and can you see my notes now?
Got your notes up there with your little bar charts and your red and green trend line on the S&P.
All right, just to confirm, this a few hours ago we had a new moon.
Okay.
I think it was roughly 5 Eastern time, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay, so 5 Eastern. Okay, so way before the NFP. So what type of reactions do you normally look for on new and full?
I'm going to cover that. We'll be looking for a change in trend. If the markets get to an extreme, the top of your channel, bottom of your channel, looks, a pretty good high percentage of time, look for reversals. Doesn't work all the time, but a decent, maybe 75%, 75% of the time,
Yeah.
I'll be showing you what happened on the full moon 2 weeks ago. I got it marked on the chart here.
Okay. Yeah,
so let me dive in here and we'll look at some lunar effects here in a minute. Okay. So at the top of my page here, we got the big big events that are happening in the next today and over the next week, over the weekend. So we have something called the Moon's North Node. That's lunar related. It's in the sign of Cancer, which is the moon sign, and it's kind of like opposite in terms of declination of Saturn and Capricorn. Saturn that's in its own sign, and so you want to be watching the markets indicated there. You want to watch coffee, silver, and stocks. We'll be looking at those charts in a minute. And like I said, we have a new moon that's in the sign of Aries. And there aren't any futures that you can trade based on Aries, so you just have to go with the general indication for, usually a new moon, full moon. I say round up the usual suspects, which are financials, grains, and precious metals. We'll be covering those also. And then we have a sort of small to moderate indication for something going on here with the U.S., what we call a U.S. natal chart, which is we take a snapshot of where the planets were.
And the Declaration of Independence?
Exactly. July the 4th, 1776. Some of your folks may have heard of that date.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Even nations have birthdays. A lot of people don't think that way.
Just like people do, right?
Yeah.
And guess what? It really works. All right. So Monday night, Mercury takes 88 days to go around the sun. It's not a circle. It's an elliptical orbit, So there's a point where it's at its farthest point and its nearest point. Farthest point is called Appa. That's far helion, which is Greek. Anything helio is Greek for the sun, you see. Okay, do you speak Greek, Dale?
Yep.
Okay. All right, used to go to Greektown in Chicago there, right? All right.
I could eat a gyros right now, buddy.
There you go. Or the Roditis. Remember the Roditis? Oh my God, it goes down like Kool-Aid, but it's not Kool-Aid.
Oh, look, we have 2 Greek partners right here. They'll dazzle you with their menus. Okay. So anyway,
so Mercury is related to the moon is, the grains like to dance to the moon, but the other big cycle for the grains is Mercury. So that's anything Mercury time Mercury's doing something. You want to watch your grains and especially soybeans. And then here's the biggie for the first 2 weeks of the month. Jupiter, which is the biggest planet in the solar system, is going to turn retrograde. That's due to the relative motion of the Earth. It'll appear that Jupiter is stopped from Earth. It'll appear that Jupiter has stopped its forward motion and to go backwards. That's how it appears due to relative motion here on Earth. Right?
Can I ask you something about Jupiter, Norm? I believe I recall when I was looking into Jupiter that it has something to do with melancholia or, depression.
That sounds like
planet.
Saturn.
Okay. That's Saturn. Okay. And Jupiter, what are the aspects to Jupiter?
And Jupiter is the opposite,
Oh, okay. Okay. Great times. Joy, happiness. Okay.
Perhaps if you have those badly aspected in your chart, you might be a manic depressive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very good diagnosis. In fact, Norm, you know what? My psychiatrist diagnosed me as an agnostic, dyslexic, insomniac. You know why? I'd
Why is
stay
that?
up I'd stay up all night wondering whether or not there was really a dog.
Well, there's really a dog.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic, agnostic, insomniac.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
All right.
That's subtle. That's subtle.
So the big
All right,
trade,
anyway,
we should be paying attention to the 10th then.
yeah, it's going to happen midday, just past noon Eastern time. So it's kind of neat. It's happening during market hours. So the problem with some of these bigger events that are way out there are you can look at different sources and they all won't agree on the exact time. Right?
Yeah.
Because the rounding error. One formula will say round at the 12th decimal, another one will round at the 13th decimal, and you'll get maybe an hour or two difference. So here we go. Here's the S&P. There's your full moon that occurred on the that was on the the night of the 20th. Right there's the top market top right on the 21st. There we go. You had a nice correction there in the S&P. I think you dropped 50, 60 handles there, which for the folks if you're not trading S&P, every handle is a whole number. That's $50.
That was on the equinox too. Equinox full moon. Let me ask you about confluence. When you have, more than one astronomical event happening within a cluster around the same area, is that a more powerful signal?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. So anyway, there you go. So you want to watch the moon and for the stock market, and then we've rallied up. Now this shows you where we're at now. We're near the top of this channel. And it's a new moon now, so I'm expecting a good possibility for some sort of maybe a pullback here for a day or two. Then we're going to be at an extreme again when Jupiter turns retrograde. According to my theory, we should be, because that's what I call planetary polarity point. When the markets tend to get polarized, they go to one extreme or the other, and then you get a big change in trend point.
Okay.
Here's your bonds. The bonds were off a day or two. They bottomed. They tend to do the opposite of the stock market, and they made their low on the 19th when we had the full moon the night of the 20th. So I gave that a red arrow because call that a miss because it was off by more than a day. But all your folks out there are going to get very excited now, Dale, because here's the dollar index, and look what's going on there. Bing, bang, bang. That's almost perfect. It bottomed on the 20th. You could have still got in the next morning on the 21st near the bottom, and look at that nice up move, huh?
Yep, on the equinox too.
So as you'll see here, the currencies dance to the moon. Here's the euro. It did, of course, what we'd expect. Is the mirror image opposite. It made a top there, almost a perfect mirror image of the dollar index, right?
Did you have anything near the lows this week?
But what do you mean? Well, there's the euro is kind of scraping along there. Most of these markets, especially the currencies, and you folks were just talking about this, the low volatility. Well, look what the markets are doing here the past few days. They're all kind of trading into a wedgie,
Okay.
Very narrow, and when you get to a change in trend window and you're at the wedgie apex, you're probably gonna. It's almost, what's the word I'm looking for? It's inevitable. That's it. It's inevitable. It's got to break out one way or the other, right?
Yeah, it's compressed.
Yeah.
I like the upside.
Look at that. The pound is doing roughly the same thing. It's not quite as far along on the wedge there as some of the others, but it's still doing the wedgie, right?
Right.
Yeah. There you go. Here's the Aussie dollar. The pound. It made a low right there on the 21st. There's the Aussie dollar. It made a top on the 21st.
Any upcoming dates in the currencies? I know we see the low here. You have any
right now? We got the new moon right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the dollar tried to rally into it today, and it's giving some of it back. So maybe a failing rally in the dollar at today's high.
I'm pretty sure that by the end of the day, you should see, which way these currencies are going to go. Right?
Okay, buddy.
Yep, there's your pound, there's your Aussie dollar. We did that. Here's silver. I mentioned precious metals. Silver made a top there right on the 21st. See, here's the commodities. Here's the commodity now. It's also in a narrow range. You see that? Here's
Everything.
gold. Gold was off a little bit because it did make a little bit of a one-day top there on the 21st, but then a couple of days later went slightly higher, and so possibly you could have got stopped out there. So I had to give that the red arrow miss, you know.
Okay.
Here's corn was off of a couple of days. It only went a penny or two higher, kind of like the gold, you know. And then it went, and it had big. Then I had a big Mercury thing happen. And Mercury turned direct right there on the 28th. Yeah, and then that's the 28th at the top of the right before it went off the cliff. And then over the 29th weekend, we had Mercury get to zero latitude. That's also a big Mercury deal, you know. So that's you look at how the corn bottom right on zero, Mercury zero latitude.
All the grains, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, and then here's your beans topped on the full moon, and they also bottomed at the Mercury zero latitude. Wheat was didn't cooperate. It topped a couple of days later. Okay, so it doesn't work every time. All right, I mentioned coffee. We got to take a look at coffee. Coffee's at a big fork in the road here. It's it's sticking a one toe over the line here. Is it going to break out to the upside? This coffee's been going down for months now. You know, just kind of erosion market, and just keeps going down, down, down. Now it looks like it might poke out over the channel here and it possibly break out. If it rolls over and it goes back down here, it's probably headed back to the bottom of the channel again, you know.
Okay.
Here I mentioned crude oil, and there you can see crude oil is.
You have no arrows.
What's that?
No arrows.
Yeah, because I don't do the moon for the crude oil.
Okay, what do you use for the crude?
Crude is Neptune.
Okay.
Or Pisces. Well, here I'll show you a neat thing that happened. Now, you remember I mentioned that Mercury turned direct the morning of the 28th in Pisces. See?
Okay.
Look at, you see something there? The 28th.
Yeah. Nice reversal. Yeah.
Right. Now, why is that? Why would that be connected to oil? Well, Pisces is the fish. Where do the fish swim? The fish swim in the big liquid, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And in the
so
commodity
it's like a
world,
water sign.
Oil. What's that?
It's a water sign.
Exactly. This is a big liquid, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And that nailed it. You see that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Usually, Mercury probably wouldn't be anything for oil, but it turned in Pisces. Okay? Got the fish all stirred up, you know?
Well, they do pull a lot of oil out of the ocean.
Oh, that's true. All right, moving on ahead. We have anything more? That's the end of my charts. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Norm? Russell like it. Could you ask to confirm that new moon equals bullish bias, full moon equals bearish bias? And I'm assuming they're talking about maybe the S&Ps or everything. Louise?
I think it's smarter just to wait and see where the market is and then look for a change in trend at that point.
Okay.
I think that's a smarter strategy. I mean, yeah, I could tell you, the historical tendency is that I think commodities tend to bottom on full moons and top on new moons. But then if you get bias like that and if it inverts, then you might lose money.
Okay, you're welcome, Louise. So, you know, a lot of these questions and, you know, what you're getting from Norm is just, you know, kind of a real quick review of what he teaches. And if you have an interest in this, you know, it's becoming, you know, less and less of a popular art form in the market and methodology in the market. And Norm's one of the masters. So if you really want to learn how to do this, Norm, tell them about your classes.
Okay, well, I'm running a special this month. I'm teaching people to day trade the S&P. It's a 20-minute class. It's all free. I do it on Skype. You have to have a futures account and enough money to trade the S&P. And it's been very successful. The system, my trading system, been average. I don't know if I can say this or not, but it's been averaging about $400 a day trading one S&P E-mini. So that's
mini. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's 8 handles you're pulling out.
Yeah, that's a living, right? That's a pretty
It is
nice
a
living.
living. Okay,
And
and that's interesting because we've been complaining about low volatility in FX, but there's been very good, or at least quite enough in S&Ps to scalp. You get
yeah, and right
nice
now,
ranges. Yeah,
the S&P is in relatively low volatility.
yeah,
We
the
measure that
VIX.
with
Right,
the VIX, and it's in
right.
about 13 now. Back a couple months ago, back at the end of last year,
Yeah.
when we had the high
Oh yeah.
volatility, my system, although the batting average would go down a little bit during the high volatility, the profit margins would double and triple. So maybe
Yeah.
on an average trade, maybe rather than making 3 or 4 handles, I'm making 10 or 12. Right? It's
Right.
yeah. So
Cool.
it's
All right. So this is a new offer for you, Norm. So how they get a hold of you?
there we go. Here's my contact information at the bottom there. I'm in sunny Florida. You can call me at 239-594-3939. There's my email, Winsky at embark with a Q in the middle, mail.com. Or here's, I think, my Skype. I don't know if you had trouble with Skype last year or not. They had that whole big changeover in Skype and
Yeah.
messed up my Skype, and I had to go hire my computer guy to untangle it all. And what I just discovered a couple of days ago, Dale, is I think my Skype handle changed and nobody told me. So for almost a year, I've been giving out my old Skype handle, and everybody go, I tried to call you and you didn't answer.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Don't you just love the new world order? Anyway, Norm, if I don't talk to you, have a happy Passover.
Thank
And
you.
thanks so much for stopping in. And God, I wish you a lot of success and hope a lot of people, want to learn what you have to share. I mean, your knowledge
Right, I've
base in
got the
this.
It's only a 20-minute class. I'm going to give you a free trial to my timing letter. It gives you intraday times during the day when the market's likely to turn, and it works quite well.
Okay, Norm.
We
Thank you.
seldom have a losing day.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, continued success. May S&P handles rain down on you during the spring trading season. All right,
All right. Well,
partner.
thank you. You too, Dale.
All right. Well, that's my trading warrior brother, Norm Winsky. And take a screenshot if you want to get in touch with Norm. He's one of the best in planetary stuff that I know. I know quite a few. So, everyone, that's a wrap for Face this week. Thank you for celebrating our 2-year anniversary with us. Remember that don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And we'll see everyone Monday. Have a great weekend. Adios. And do your work over the weekend and be ready to trade. I'm looking at the yen. I still think that the yen might be a short. I'm wrong over 12.10, and that the dollar still could fade and trade 96 again. Adios, everyone. See you, Russell. You're welcome. Thank you, Norm.
Thank you very much for having me on. Have a great weekend.
You too, buddy. All right, everyone. Adios.